There are definitely opportunities there. A lot of those opportunities are not going to be found by publishers, and so you can spend a lot of time, or you can wait until the market tells us more about what happens. A good example, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, is a very popular iPhone app called iBird Pro. It was originally a website called What Bird. It's a sort of bird identification guide. It's kind of interesting because the guy who developed it was originally a computer book publisher, Mitch Wade. And he had this idea about some kind of sort of tree-structured way of finding kinds of knowledge that you do identification. And he was thinking originally of stamp collecting, coins, whatever. Birds was where he got his hit, but he was thinking about, what job can I do for the user? And so I think what he's done will really reinvent, bird identification guides and plant identification guides. And so he doesn't have the resources to do everything in that space. But like if I were, somebody who published bird guides, I'd go out and buy his company and scale it up, right? Because he's an individual guy. He's making, $5 or $6 million a year on this one product, somebody could take that and go, yeah, we can do plant identification guides, we can do, and so there's a real opportunity there. So I look for innovators who figured out, this is a form that really works in the digital space, and scale it. But what I can provide is capital, scaling, more of that. To do more of what we've already proven to work, rather than saying, oh, we're going to go out there and we're going to try to invent all these things. Because that's, I think, one model that I think could work for publishers is just watch for the innovators and for them, what's going to be hard is scaling. And not all of them are going to want to scale. They're not going to have the ability to scale. In other cases, it may be that, what's hard is access to international markets, or it might be, although I do think that one of the things we've seen in our work with ebooks is, one of the really nice upsides of ebooks is access to international markets kind of comes free. We sell, in parts of the world where we've never sold print, and so there's a real expansion of our market through that. But anyway,
before I hand over to the audience. Let me just finish this point as it relates to general trade publishing. Because a lot of the audience are employed in general trade publishers. Yeah. We're sitting in one of the great cathedrals of trade publishing here in Random House. Are you saying, if I've understood you correctly, that with the notion of curation having been disrupted itself so much anyway by the internet, that if you're a general trade publisher and you're relying on curation as your value add, are you screwed, or have I misunderstood what you're saying? Or not? Or do you kind of break it up into specialisms and do what you're suggesting?
It's certainly true that a lot of my thinking is biased by the fact that I publish stuff that people need rather than stuff that they just want. And so I'm not sure how deep my insight goes into the problems of general trade publishing. But I will say, there really is a big question out there around, sort of the demographics of reading. I think there still are lots of people who read. Obviously they read on the web. There's probably more reading going on today than there has been ever. There are people who read one book a year or no book a year who now read dozens or hundreds of books worth of text a year, and so that's a really positive thing. They're tending to read in shorter snippets. The question is, does that mean, might mean there's a resurgence of sort of short stories. It might mean that there's a resurgence of serials. It might mean that there's a resurgence of some new kinds of storytelling. I think that there are a lot of opportunities to engage people. Why do people read, I guess, is one of the big questions. Why do they read? This kind of goes back to what job do you really do? You know, it's like sometimes people read to pass the time, to escape. You know, sometimes they read to inform themselves. Sometimes they read because, oh my gosh, you read a book and it's like entering another life, and it changes how you think. And you know, if you're an editor, say, at a publishing house, how do you decide what to publish? You know, it's probably, you probably have some sense in your own mind of like what makes a great book. Why do you think it's great? You know, because if you go, oh wow, it's a page turner, it'll get made into a movie. You know, well then, you know, maybe you're the farm team for the movies. You know, but if you know, maybe you're a literary publisher and you go, wow, this is a book that expands the human spirit, and you go, well, wow, how do I make that so in a digital age, and how do I make that more so? And but I do think, you know, I think Jeff Bezos is right when he says, you know, multimedia and all this is a bit of a potential dead end. He says, I mean, you know, the old man at the sea isn't going to be better in color, but yeah. So.
Well, I have 100.
It's a great time, though. It's like, come on, this is like, we have this opportunity to try things. And we have this opportunity to go back to basics. And you know, isn't there a joy in that?
Yeah. I hope so. We'll find out. Before, I'm not going to ask another of the 100 questions I have here, so I think it's time to open up to the audience. But before I ask for general questions, a few of you kindly submitted questions ahead of time to the Meetup site, and I'm going to pick a few people at random for that. Is Bill Glass in the audience? Bill, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, the question I asked was, I can talk really loudly.
Then, if you could say who you are and where you're working.
Hi, my name is Bill Glass. I'm a consultant interested in niche markets, and I apologize for people who've done that. My question was just, do you believe that ebooks will become at least 50% of the market, and if you do, when? And that's both for O'Reilly and for the industry as a whole.
You know, I don't know when, but I do believe they will. You know, in our experience, given the choice between a print book and an ebook, people choose the ebook every time. Now, some of that is related to price. I think one of the things that is you know, it's the elephant in the room, is what's the right price for an ebook? And I don't think we know. And this is why actually I was really, really disappointed. You know, I have to say one of the things I'm most frustrated with this industry around is the hostile response to Google. Because I think we missed such a huge opportunity to have a company that is profoundly tech savvy, that had a business model that it is of this create more value than you capture style on our side. We made them the enemy, we meaning publishers. And there's so many things that they could have been doing for us. You know, algorithmic pricing, figuring out what is the right price for an ebook. You know, versus, you know, I look at, you know, some of the other players in the industry who are really trying to capture more of the value in the value chain. I think, you know, we screwed up badly as an industry there. But anyway, back to sort of algorithmic pricing, that's one of the things we really need to figure out. How do we get, you know, what is the right price? What is the demand curve? And, you know, in our experience, you know, people are buying more books at lower prices, and that's really good. And, you know, Jeff Bezos has talked a lot about it too. He's really been trying to push the price down. And publishers generally are trying to, you know, preserve the price structure of printed books. I'm just not sure that that's a winning strategy. What we really need to do is get out there with aggressive price discovery. You know, what volume will we sell a lot more product?